Okay, so call the meeting of the OLDC to order. Then do the roll call. We can go through this right, Carrie?
Yes.
All right. Mayor Alio is not here. Lenz. John Hart, no. Robert Thompson. Carrie Kerper.
Here.
Colleen Taggerty.
Here.
Janelle Morris. Mimi Yanetsko.
Here.
John Crawford.
Here.
I'm here, and Dave Carucci. Reading and approval of the June 16th annual meeting minutes.
Looks fine to me. On to it.
Colleen moves to accept the minutes. Is there a second?
A second.
Carrie Kerper, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Elections, we have none. Bills and communications.
Do you think we should do the?
I put that under the report of committees.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Is that fine? I
Yes,
fit better there,
absolutely.
okay. So no bills and communications then, report of the treasurer. Let's see what we got here. Dave submitted a balance sheet.
Well, that's not,
That's Lenz,
yeah, I submitted that, yeah.
okay, sorry,
The balance sheet and the income statement, that's one, and also, the bank statement is in there too.
okay. So then Lenz, you just wanna go over it quick, since Dave's not here?
In the income statement for, August, we collected, $3,555. Do you have copies of this?
We do.
And also the balance sheet is basically what we have in the community bank, $53,000, up till August 31st, 2022.
It's nice when they match.
That's pretty much it.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Carrie moves to accept the treasurer's reports, is there a second?
Mimi can second.
Okay, she, because,
Today.
no, because they have
No,
expired, so maybe,
Emergency expired, so she can't.
so
I'll
you
second.
can't vote or second today,
Okay,
maybe.
Yeah, second.
Okay, John seconds. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And report of committees.
Should we have Justin go?
Oh, sorry, Justin, I skipped right over you. Yes,
Alright,
you
so I
just blended in, I thought you were one of us now.
provided 3 documents. I'll go over the thickest one first, that's the actual financial statement. If you wanna flip 2 pages in to the audit opinion on page 1 and 2 of this. So, you know, the whole point of us doing this is to provide our opinion. It's a clean audit opinion. The only thing I will draw your attention to is if you were to compare this report to last year's, there's some change in the format of it. Auditing standards have been updated. The opinion has moved from about the middle of the first page to the first thing discussed now. So I think that's kind of, you know, I think it's clear, that's the whole reason we're here, so to not hide it in the middle of the document. But then the other thing they did is they really beefed up that auditor's responsibilities. So our responsibilities is completing this, you know, put it in bullet format, and they really spelled out some of the things that were ultimately we're responsible for when completing an audit, which those in the past hadn't been really as clear when you're reading through it. There was a paragraph on it, but it was really just that first paragraph there. So they really broke out some of the audit responsibilities and put it in bullet format and made it clearer for the reader of what I'm responsible for. So then if you want to go to page 3, this is the balance sheet. Now, this includes the loans. So you'll see as of May 31st, your cash was at 3,900. You have current note receivable 39,000 as well. And then long term, 125, total of about 165 out there. That's gonna be coming in over the next few years from those notes receivable through the hotel. You know, we've often kind of struggled with your cash flows here over the years. You know, 3,900 or 39,000, it's, you know, 53,000, you're doing a lot better now. So that those loans are really helping out in that arena. And then down at the bottom of the page, your net assets. You're at 202,000 of net assets without donor restrictions. In the past, you had that 4,000 that came from the city to help pay for the audits for a few years. We used the last of that this year. So now there's, you know, your money, what the assets you have, they're yours as an entity to spend. There's no restrictions on them. Page 4, the income statement. You can see here, there's 2021, you had that grant income of 202,000. That was the initial part of that 400,000. That was the part of the loan or the grant that was set up as a loan and was started to be paid back. This year, you'll notice there's another 200,000 coming in, 213. The difference between the 200s and the, you know, that's 202 and 213. There's some professional fees to Cypherman's office there. This year, the 200 that came in is just passed through. So there are the way that loan was set up and the way they set most of those loans up through the Office of Community Renewal. They do 200,000 initial or half initially set up as a loan. The other half they consider like a deferred loan. And they could, in theory, claw it back if this company didn't meet those the requirements on them, like the job growth that the employees they said they'd hire, things like that. I do a number of these through IDAs. I do like Chautauqua County. I've never seen a clawback. So that's why it's just going for you guys though. Like now that you've received the money, you pass it on, you're kind of done. If anything like that happens, that's more work between the company and the Office of Community Renewal. So you pass that money through, and you know you're kind of at just the collection stage of the loan with this grant. So then, you know, page 5, cash flow statement. You can see there where the, you know, that positive 39,000 is coming from. It's all collections of that note receivable. It's really driving that. Page 6, we have notes. Note 1 is pretty much the same as prior years. You know, it's just talking about your entity. Note 2, liquidity. We have to talk about that now. In the past, as I said, your liquidity was a little tight. This year, you know, a lot more comfortable with it. We're glad to update that footnote to note that you know you have cash at this point. Note 3 breaks out that note receivable. So you have, you know, you can see a total of 164,000, your current portion of 39,000, and then at the very bottom right of the page, you can see the payment plan going through 2027 when the final payment will come in. But you know, you'll have strong cash flows for the next 5 years, 4 years related to that. Note 4, that's the net assets without donor restriction or with donor restrictions, talking about the last $1,000 that was spent. So you know, you utilize the end of that. That note will probably go away since there will be no net assets with donor restrictions unless we get some sort of agreement like that again. And then note 5 discusses the grant. So it just talks about how the first 200 was set up as a note receivable. The second 200 was passed through with a $13,000 difference being professional fees. And then we include the pandemic in there. That note's just, it's probably going to be gone next year, I hope. It's still affecting a lot of entities, so we left it in there. But you know, really, you guys and the big impact on you was the hotel delayed being built. Right. So that's where it had the big impact on this entity. You know, not so much of an impact this year on you guys, other than how these meetings were nice, it sounds like, so. So then, as part of the audit, we also provide 2 other letters. So the first one I'll talk about is the 1-page letter. It's in planning and performing is what it starts as. This is called the management letter. So this is us, you know, providing some best practices, some things we notice. The first one is segregation of duties. And both of these comments were on last year's report too. You know, an entity of this size, it's just hard to get proper segregation of duties. We recognize that. it's not a knock on this entity. Pretty much any entity this size, any board this size is gonna have that comment. Just to keep at the forefront, you know, when you have, you know, one person doing a lot of finance and one person doing a lot of anything really, there's always the chance for that person to, you know, try to do something without the proper checks and balances. So,
So just to let you know, we really did fix that after
Yeah.
Fred left.
yeah,
So David Kruger has a checkbook, it's out of,
so it's out
it's
of
gone,
when,
and it's
so,
been like that for months.
and then are you doing the bank rec then, or is David?
I do, well, I just got the statement and forwarded to David. All I do is prepare the income statement and balance sheet. That's all I do.
And then David
reviews
emails
everything
us.
and then emails us with all of the information.
So I think the next step there is just to get that bank rec done by Lens. You know, so Lens can go, I mean, it's a very simple bank rec, there's not a ton of activity, it should take you 5 minutes to do. But to have you go through it, sign off on it, that, yeah, this, the bank, the checkbook balances, the bank reconciliations are there and done.
Okay.
And then you can bring it to the board to show that, you know, every month we reconcile and there's nothing, you know, it's so, the activity here is so small that you guys can look at every check, obviously.
Right.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
the idea that something like that would happen here is pretty minimal, but you know, you just gotta get those ducks in a row, really. And then the second comment there is are those bank recs. So you just, like I said, it's not a heavy lift to do a bank rec on an entity that has as many transactions as you do. Should only take 5-10 minutes to throw one together each month and show what came in, what went out, and why, how it affects your bank statement.
Okay.
Unless there's nothing.
So then the second letter we provide here, the one that says we have audited the financial statements. This is a clean letter. This is called the governance letter. So we're required to provide this to the governance of the entity, just to let you know if there are any issues during the audit, anything like that. And it is a clean letter. There is one thing I will note under corrected and uncorrected statements. So the technical way to record that note receivable is at net present value. We didn't really think that was prudent to do for you guys. It might muddle things a little bit. So we didn't net present value it. But we are required to communicate that we didn't do that, and it is a slight difference from what generally accepted accounting principles would be. And it would have resulted in an $11,000 difference in the loan balance. So, you know, cash today, or cash 7 years from now that you're receiving isn't worth cash today. That's essentially what it's saying.
Okay.
Any questions?
I just wonder, and the reason you didn't do it is because we have such a limited amount of money, is that what you're?
No, it's really doesn't have anything to do with like your current money. It's more of just it's not really worth the time to do it. It's a cost benefit of it. Like, you know, for Lens to figure that out each month and throw it on there, it wouldn't be
Oh,
worth
he
it.
would have to do it.
Yeah, so-
Oh, yeah.
so-
I thought you meant you, oh,
No,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, we could have provided an adjustment and said this is what the loan balance really should be, but it really doesn't.
To what,
Yeah,
To
why,
what end
why,
would that even
why would
be?
we go
Yeah.
through that process?
Right,
Now,
right,
we did
okay.
calculate it real quick so we could communicate to you, this is how it would have changed that number. We're
And it would have
required,
been that amount, the
it would have been
11,000.
11,000 on the 165.
Okay,
So that 165 would be worth 154, really, in
Right.
today's terms, money wise.
Right.
Going forward.
Okay,
alright, that makes sense. Thank you,
What's the
Dennis.
discount rate you?
We only did 2%. So that was a little
Yeah.
low. It probably, with inflation today, you probably could have argued for, but we just used the loan.
Yeah.
Interest, so.
Thank you.
Alright. So I think now I can complete the
Yeah, you could
tax
go on and
return.
do the 990. I think, so I don't know if there's the postcard version or the paper, the easy version. I think you guys qualify for easy. You'd have to look into that. So you wouldn't have to do a full 990, but you might have to do more
I
than
think
the
we-
postcard version.
With the income that we did for last year, plus 200,000, we had to do a long one.
Yeah,
Because the easy one would be if we make less than 200,000.
No,
So that I played with it a couple months ago. That's what I said, you know.
Yeah.
Question though, There's OLDC had a debit or credit card, so there will be a fee to file the tax return.
Can you do it through the checking account? Or the routing and account number?
Okay,
I don't know if we got one.
I don't think Fred did, I think it was, he tried for months and was unable to.
Yeah, we were
do so.
supposed to get one and it never, I don't think it ever
It
came to
wouldn't.
fruition.
Yeah, I can check, I don't believe we did,
I
what
don't
we did
either.
do is we added,
We did the
Multiple
signatory
names.
things,
Right,
yes,
Updated.
we went and did all of that.
Yeah.
But if we can use a routing number,
yeah,
that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
If not, we'll
If-
have to get a debit card, so David and the whole group will have to sign our life away, I think, probably.
And also, we have to go to the bank and have them cancel that fee that would be taken out every year, I think like $78,800.
$78.
$78, yeah, I believe that's what it was, right? We have to cancel that for the bank, because we don't need that really.
remind me what that was.
was that
last time.
Adobe
Yeah.
that Fred
Yeah.
had going? Okay.
It was what?
Adobe. For PDF.
I think that already got canceled,
Oh, did you guys cancel that?
I went with David.
Okay.
Okay.
So the only thing that we need to do now, Justin, is just have him do the reconciliations from Dave's balance, right?
Yeah, so when
Your
Dave, so if Dave's
recommendation.
writing the checks, that's a good separation, segregation of duties there to then just have the
I think we
Second
got,
person.
what, 2 people on the check now too.
the
So we did add
second signature to
there's
all.
2 signatures on the check, there's 3 signators, and Lenz is not on the checking account.
Yeah, that, so then for him to be the individual who would create the reports and do a bank rec would be the, ideal situation since he doesn't have the ability to manipulate what's being turned into.
Okay, so then, okay,
So that would make those two things go away for next
Yeah,
year.
bank recs start getting done even if they're not done,
We want them.
We need
Yeah,
quarterly,
We
but
recorded.
like the months where there's no activity, like, I mean, it's just
um,
nothing to report,
consistent,
yeah. There's
Okay.
printing a blank report and saying, here's what your balance is. But yeah, definitely, get those bank recs done, have them brought to the board and signed off on. And that's part of like the treasurer reports each period.
So, I mean, they come to me every month, what I can do is I'll prepare and email it to you guys. And then when we have the meetings, we could just sign up.
We keep that.
I do too.
Thank you.
It's lovely.
It is.
Oh, thank you.
No, thank you.
So we need a motion to accept this, is there?
Yep.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
move second to accept the audit report, discussion. All those in favor,
Aye.
opposed, carries.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you.
Every year we get a little better.
Yeah. Here, here's some extra, just.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll get to the members that
Thank you, Justin.
didn't attend. Thank you. You
You
too,
too.
thank you.
Hey, Ward. So now we can skip down to the report of the committees.
Yes, you'll find all of them.
Okay, thanks. This is which one, the audit committee?
Mhm.
Okay. So the audit report, everybody has this,
Correct.
this one, correct, Karen?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, everyone.
Everybody has all of them.
Okay, so in your packet, you'll have the audit report, audit committee report, which was and they have that paper too, yes?
Oh, the one from the audit committee meeting earlier?
Yes.
No, audit committee members only had that
Okay.
because this is your report from your meeting
Okay,
this morning.
thanks.
Sure.
So after review of the authority's internal, external audit process, the financial reporting process, and the system risk assessment, the audit committee has found the practice of performed as outlined in the audit committee charter. The committee does not recommend any changes at this time.
So I would make a motion to accept the audit committee report.
So Carrie makes a motion to accept,
Second.
John second, all those in favor,
Aye.
opposed? The finance committee, Matt, reviewed the authorities and financing investment guidelines and does not recommend any changes. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Colleen,
Second,
second, it's Carrie, all those in favor,
I,
opposed? And then the governance committee, John,
Yeah, so now, the fact that this says that we don't recommend any changes to the charter or the governance guidelines, does that thing that we just talked about change the governance guidelines in our committee meeting? No? Okay,
because that is a separate document that's still remaining intact
okay,
online.
all right, any questions about that?
No.
All right,
good, motion to accept the governance committee report,
I'll make that motion.
John, second,
I'll second.
Carrie, all those in favor, opposed? Okay. So,
And then, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the packets got jumbled, if you get past the rehab documents, there are still more policies to go over.
Oh.
So you'll have to move those 3 housing rehab docs over, and then you'll find the authority mission statement.
that'll
Where
be
we need to
under,
go
but
to.
that'll be under new policies, yes, under OLDC policy and statements.
No, we should, well, I mean, I guess if you, okay, sure, never mind. I'll be
Right?
quiet, yes.
So, but under the committees while we're here,
Yes,
we need to find another member for the audit committee and then the finance committee, which basically at 8:15, you come to like one extra meeting,
a year.
but twice a year. Robert, would you be interested in doing one of them?
Sure,
Pick one.
doesn't matter.
Okay, so we'll appoint Robert on the audit committee.
Isn't audit and finance together? Don't we do those together?
It's 2 separate titles.
It is 2 separate titles, but don't we have kind of the same committee?
You bet.
It's basically the same, but there's 3 standing committees listed separately.
Yeah, I understand.
So Robert, then you just want to do both.
That's why I'm kind of.
That's what
Audit
I'm
and
thinking,
finance?
yeah.
Audit and finance, it's the one just goes into the next.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then.
Okay,
How often is that?
twice a year.
Well, I think I fit that in.
And it's always before this meeting, we go at 8:15.
Yeah, and we do these quarterly, so,
There'll be an invite for that, someone's got to set up
Yes.
the calendar?
Yeah, Kathy sends them out.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
That's what
Not a
we need for
problem.
governance, right?
No, we are at 3 on
We had 3 at
governance. We just had
Just
that
only
one that we
you showed
missed.
up.
Thanks, Ryan.
yeah.
All right,
Do we need to make a formal motion for that or no? For his appointment to them?
no, I do not believe so.
Okay. Bylaws are not this.
It was in a paper you gave me earlier.
Oh,
It just was appointed at the approval of the board is what it
Okay.
said, if I remember correct.
Well, then we should probably do, if it says at the approval of the board, we should probably do a motion to
We'll
approve
just
it.
make a motion to accept, that way it's covered.
Yep.
So Colleen moves to accept Robert.
Yep.
It's Thompson, right?
Yes.
Thompson to the audit and finance committees. Second,
I'll second
Carrie, all those in favor?
I guess I say aye.
that.
Opposed? Now you say it. Okay. So that's everything there. So then the William O. Smith Recreation and Oats advertisement,
I have no
Long-awaited.
update.
okay? The Housing Rehabilitation Fund.
Yeah, you'll find the documents in your packet again. I wasn't at the previous meeting. However, I reviewed Kathy's minutes and so I said, hey, you should probably put these documents back into the packet because there was an item that you said to add a photo to the application, a photo suggestion was added that I think must be when they submit the application, you want photos attached. Okay. So I asked Kathy if she did that and she advised she didn't because it was a suggestion, not a recommendation, she said, so
We discussed that, Colleen, in the last one?
Yeah, we had talked about having some type of documentation and proof of the actual work to be done. So how would we do that unless we went and viewed it, so then we talked about maybe submitting a photo, but she's right, nobody ever said that's
Yeah, I
what we
don't quite
wanted.
recall.
We just had a conversation about it.
And then that would also be for verifying that the work was completed, that they have to do.
Before and after kind of thing. But we just discussed it, we didn't say that's definitely what we wanted.
Okay, and then we will be working with code enforcement to do the inspections for us, so just, so there's a comfort level there for numbers.
And is that a way to ensure that that's
Works performed,
the actual work performed?
and plus they'll have to be getting permits, so it'll go hand in hand.
Okay. Well,
So remind me why, well, we cannot do photos, or we can?
We can,
Oh,
We can't,
some of the
it's
work,
just, do we want to, are we gonna require it?
some of the work though, Carrie doesn't require,
some may not
like
require
if
permit.
you do doors and windows, as long as you don't change the size of the opening, there's no building permit required.
Right, but I.
I like the idea of the photo,
oh, I
Yeah.
think so too.
I do too.
I think we should have it.
No, I had still, and I know it would trigger a permit, but I had previous conversations and code enforcement has still agreed that they would go do the inspections to make sure the windows actually
Yeah,
go in and
okay.
out. Even if it doesn't trigger a building permit, they're still willing to do our inspections for us.
So do we have something in ours saying that an inspection would be done at the end of the work performed?
I don't recall, I wrote these documents
I don't recall that either. I
a year
guess
and
it
a
was
half
more,
ago.
so we would have to almost have something in ours saying that, even though code's saying that they'll do it, we have to have something saying that we require said inspection done by codes, because
You're right,
currently there's no code on the books that says if I replace a window, codes has to come do an inspection.
correct,
So it would be an unwarranted inspection.
right.
Okay.
So I don't know, I mean, do members, wanna review these and then like really give suggestions and so that we can formally adopt these like at the next meeting and roll this program out because I did these some time ago. And I don't know that,
Never, in terms of that, Carrie, never mind, scratch it, it's right in front of me.
isn't.
All work
I
must
do
be
it.
performed by a licensed and insured contractor and pass inspection by the city of Olean Codes Enforcement Division.
Alright, so I knew I was doing that day.
So we'll.
Well, I think when we
We'll just
looked
start at the
at
bottom
it,
bullet.
we said we wanted if we talked about the photo, and if we're all saying that we would like to add that,
Yeah,
I think
To
we
me,
should, yeah,
we've reviewed these
okay,
and we've had extensive conversation about them, right?
okay,
So if we add requiring the photo before and after,
add a photo as part of the application process and
Yes.
then the completion.
before.
Add that, and then jumping, Carrie, quickly to the other point, we wanted to look at possibly the removal of the lead abatement.
Yeah.
And change the verbiage of the top under qualified exterior home repairs. Remove the verbiage of removal of lead. And then under health and safety, put other health and safety as reviewed or at review and discretion of the board.
I think we'll just get them ready and we can approve them.
Does anybody have an issue with those changes?
and then where on the application would you like me to put before and after photos are required?
Required documents.
Right, under required documents.
Last bullet,
Mhm.
before and after photos of the work to be performed.
Mhm.
Then we can just formally adopt it at the next meeting.
Whenever you would like.
Yeah.
Well, the sooner we adopt them,
Just
the
plan
sooner
on formally
we move
adopting
forward,
it
right?
at the next meeting.
Yeah, and I really think I need to disclose, everything's supposed to be coming through my office, submittals from what I recall. And I'm gonna be off on maternity leave, in November. And supposed to be taking 6 weeks,
Well, when's the next meeting?
December.
December? So realistically, if we approve it in December, you're gonna have a period of getting it launched anyways. Probably it's not gonna start till
That's what I wanted to ask today.
The spring
It's the
season.
spring, right? Is
Spring.
that,
we could put an
That makes-
effective date
That makes
of,
the most sense.
we could put an effective
Okay.
date of March 1 on it.
okay,
Or, I'm sorry, a start date of March 1.
right, and so then I could do the rollout, advertising, promotion prior to that. I could-
Yeah, because then we can
I can start
advertise in
that.
January, February,
Yeah.
people are thinking about them projects, and then March we can start the application process.
And now, we can only do 5 a year, based on the budget, just as a reminder.
So we're gonna, and they're gonna be just rolling, we're not gonna have an application phase, right, from like say March to June, where they have to come in, so we pick the 5.
I think first come, first served,
Okay.
right? I don't know if that's how you guys wanna do it.
We can change it down the road if we get a big
Cause I think
turn.
5, we'll get it the first time, I think by March 1, I think we'll have that
Yeah.
application.
So then if it becomes something big, then maybe we can look at it down the road to say we have an application window, and then we can choose the 5 out of that window.
How many do you project? You think there's gonna be a lot?
I think there's gonna be a lot, but we're only budgeted for 5.
So and that's one thing I mean, how do you wanna do the selection criteria? Oh, wait, you guys did a
We
selection
did a
criteria.
Yeah, we did.
So we're all set on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my thought would be you would have it open for a month. You would collect for a couple of weeks, whatever it is, right? And maybe this is what you're talking about, and then we have to grade them. Is that correct?
That's what kind
Yeah.
of, yes, using the same route, that's what I'm talking about, is like, do we just do first come, first serve if it,
I don't want,
or do we just have a window
I don't
saying?
wanna do that.
I don't wanna do first come,
I
first
don't
serve.
either.
You know,
Okay.
it just,
You could end up with a very
yeah,
non-essential one, and
Yes.
then later somebody comes in with like, well, now we can't afford to help these people. I
So
think
what's
we
an
should-
acceptable application window? 1 month?
I don't know, Carrie, maybe
3 weeks?
3 weeks?
So
You
one,
just do March.
Mimi, you can talk.
Yes.
so
I would
our-
say if you're announcing them or opening it on March 1st, then we promote it, early on saying, hey, this is coming up, and then give it that 3 weeks or whatever deadline, just so that they are planning on applying.
Right.
if you look at our our meeting will be March 16, 2023. So we should back up the date prior to
With-
that, so that way we're reviewing and approving on March 16.
With your maternity leave, could we do, is February okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I'm only gonna be gone 6 weeks. I'll be back in January.
So can we do application for the month of February, and then by March
Yes.
16th, then we can
Yeah, that
grade
makes
them and
sense.
award?
Yes,
That makes sense.
open it like February 1, close at the 28th.
It's 4 weeks,
Yep,
That makes sense.
all right, I like that.
and then we can award it at our March quarterly meeting.
All right,
It makes,
open
it makes more work for the
to-
committee to go through all of that, but that way at least we ensure that the properties that need it the most are
Right.
the ones getting
I agree.
the funding.
Okay, open to 1, close to 28. And then we'll just see what happens, and if we have to open it again, like we did with the Boost Business, we'll
Yeah.
do another rolling deadline.
You're right.
Yep.
Okay. So then we'll just put this on for next month to do the final approval with a couple of changes
Okay,
that we noted.
yeah, and did I tell you I had code enforcement review these docs and they had no changes?
Yes,
Now, I don't know that Jack signed off on them. I think we've sent them to him a few times. But I think that's one of the things we're waiting for him to do, right? I'll do a follow-up.
I'm trying to remember last meeting if Bill mentioned that
I
Jack
don't
reviewed
remember
them.
the Jack, hearing the Jack review. Why don't you just follow up?
Okay, and I don't recall that being in the minutes either.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't recall that.
Okay,
Maybe it was
I'll
that
get
he
Jack
said
signed
we were
off.
waiting on the review.
Hate to do this to you guys, but is there anything else you need to vote on, because I hit scoop.
No, we're getting in there too.
Yeah,
yeah, we need to adopt the, yeah,
can you
we gotta
5
move on.
minutes, maybe, or Colleen?
Yeah, I'm done with the housing rehab program.
Okay, so we're tabling us that.
Yep.
Under our OLDC policies and statements.
You'll find the mission statement, performance measurements.
Alright, and that's no change, correct?
Correct.
So motion to accept.
I'll make that.
Second, go ahead, second.
Colleen,
I'll second.
motion, Gary second, vice versa, it's the way. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's that one.
And
What's
the-
this next one?
The real property report.
Okay, that we own no real property. A motion to accept.
Move.
John, second, Carrie, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried. The annual governance committee. Did that one, didn't we?
Yeah. We did earlier.
It was that form, right?
Yep, so
Yes.
now it's the code of ethics.
Okay, I had a duplicate, sorry.
I did too.
Okay, the code of ethics report, that there was, everything was good, and there was no changes. A motion to accept.
I'll make that.
Carrie, John, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This is our statement that we make certifying that the OLDC followed a process and assessed the documents and adequacy of its internal control structure, which we did with us.
Okay, is motion to accept the letter?
I'll make that.
Carrie? Robert, second?
Second.
Thought I saw your hand, Robert.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Then it's the OLDC's annual report, and it was done based upon Justin providing
The audit
us with
numbers.
the draft.
So is there a motion to accept the annual report?
Sure.
Robert, second.
Second.
John, all those in favor?
Aye. And then that last doc is the confidential evaluation of board performance. If members could do that, get it to my office at some point, because I do this in my reporting.
Yep.
I send it to a separate email to show that we've completed that work.
Just as a reference, you have the 2023 schedule in your packet. We need a motion quickly because we have to have a motion to direct Lens to file the taxes.
Motion.
moved. Okay.
John
Second.
moves, Colleen seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. And then finally, is this all the same paper, Harry? This resolution?
No, that is Tiffany, if you wouldn't mind updating members on what's occurred.
The New York State, the powers that be have passed new legislation regarding the open meetings law and video conferencing. Now that the state of emergency has expired, in order to video conference, as long as the board is allowing video conferencing, the public has to be able to attend via video conferencing and comment via video conferencing if comment is allowed. In addition, if someone is video conferencing in, it's going back to the way it was prior to COVID, they do not count towards a quorum unless they are publishing where they're at, their location, and allowing for the public to attend from that location. If they are not publishing that, then they can still attend in an emergency situation, healthcare, childcare. There's a list, I believe, in the resolution and the local law that state what those situations are, but all of that needs to be noticed when the agendas go out the week before the meeting.
5 days prior, right, is there something? So now if they video conference, Mimi can't, or just as example, Mimi can't count towards the quorum, but she can vote if there's a quorum.
If she is gone for an emergency reason, if she just is down the street and not attending, then no, she cannot vote.
She can't vote or count.
Unless she is
And
not here for an extenuating circumstance, or she publishes her
if it
location.
is an extenuating circumstance, she counts as a quorum and can
No,
vote,
she does not count as a quorum,
but can vote.
But she can,
but can vote,
but if she
Okay, thank you.
publishes that she's doing it there, it's just, she can vote, she counts.
as long as she
Allows
allows
the
the
public
public
to
to
go
go
there.
there.
So if you're doing this from home, you have to let the public in your house.
Right,
Yes.
Yes,
so start publishing, Mimi.
and prior to COVID, we did have a board member on a different board publish a location from the Cayman Islands that she
Mhm.
would call in from.
I'll bet no one showed.
I used to do that for when I would be in
Yes,
Germany.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. It's a good thing to be able to do.
I'd
You
have
guys,
to
I
publish the
apologize,
hotel,
but
I'd be in the
it's
lobby of the
okay.
hotel.
Adopt.
I'd have to-
Kelly,
Resolution
30 seconds.
01-22. I don't believe we
Tell my
had
wife I'm
another
off to a
resolution.
meeting.
Kelly, 30 seconds. So is there a motion to accept resolution number 01-22?
Sure.
Jerry.
Okay.
Robert,
Second.
Robert, second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm still here.
That was the last
We're
thing I
good.
voted on.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Okay, so we'll just go to an adjournment. Well, we just can't. I think everything's done though.
Yes.
So we can just go into adjournment at 9:11.
Thank you.
We're good.
Oh, I'll make it.
Can't make a motion, you don't have enough, we lost the quorum, so show us at
I thought I
9:11.
heard her. No.
Show us at 9:11 losing a quorum.
So then we're stuck in this forever?
Yeah.
We're just
We're
here.
never allowed to leave?
Purgatory.
Mimi, come back.
We're never allowed to leave?
Come up the street quick. We
can't-
wanna go
we
home.
can't-
She stands outside and yells really loud.
All right.
Thank you, Mimi.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep.